Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and, hello, the United Way of Tarrant County. Some of our programs are recorded and some are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I am Martha Brown, your host for today's activities. It tickles me to bring back our favorite Peggy Spear with the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. Peggy has looked in the archives and she is bringing us art with the title Sleep. And since we all just woke up, I hope it doesn't put us back to sleep, Peggy.
Oh, no.
Hope not.
And
they're all black and white again, guys.
What was that, Peggy?
They're all black and white again. We're back to my back to my
Oh,
business.
yeah, that's great.
You know we love you anyway.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging on.
Oh,
Okay. So the artworks I selected, a lot of them don't really have much written about it or any notes from the artist on it, but there's something just very snuggy about some of these and very relatable, whether it's you in the bed or you looking at a child in their bed. It's just some of these, I don't know, you can feel the weight of some of the sleep. So this is the first one we're going to start with, entitled Nap. What do we see? Or what jumps out to you at first?
There's somebody asleep on the couch.
You're seeing a couch, okay.
I see the couch,
I
yeah.
see a bed with a blanket on it or a quilt on it or something. Looks like my weighted blanket.
That blanket looks like the heaviest thing you're going to want to sleep under, huh?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, but it looks very unordered.
Unordered, like out of whack or like very disordered.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's the way a lot of blankets are in beds, once you sleep in them, they're just.
Especially if you toss and turn a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if you say this is a couch.
Oh, no, I take it back. I think it's a bed.
I think it is a bed. I think the foreshortening of the angling of it kind of suggests a couch, but I think it's meant to be a bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
What
This is
strikes me is the strokes of the dry point.
Yeah.
Yes. So the dry point, I haven't taken an etching or a etching and dry point review in a while. So I looked at it again. Etching and dry point are essentially the same exact thing, but dry point has a little bit of a softer edge with the metal, or creates more of a softer edge when they're etching with the metal tool. The etching has more concise, direct lines, and you can see some of that softness
Yeah.
within the crease. And I think that the softness lends itself to the subject very nicely, as some of you have noticed.
Probably didn't go as deep.
Say that again.
If you went deep, it'd be very etched. So just kind of like a scrape.
Yeah, and it can be, and dry point can be deep as well. It depends on how that artist is using it. It's just that the end result is a little bit different. But
It could be the angle of the tool.
Exactly.
Using it to make it more softer or harder. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, this is a nice one.
Yeah, there was something just very, I don't know, comforting or safe about this.
You picked a good one. You picked a good one, Peggy.
And I think I thought it was a child at first, but
I don't.
looking at the legs,
It's an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's an adult. Must be nice to just take a nap in the middle of the day.
Oh, I do it all the time, so
Oh, you've got it figured out, Steve.
Yes, he does.
I have to. Yeah.
Wait till you get to be our age, Peggy. As
I
someone
take
said,
naps when I can, which isn't often, but man, when I'm able to get one in, ooh, it is like heaven on earth. I love a nap.
someone
But,
said the things
go ahead.
the things that used to be punishment for children are now what we treasure the most.
I know. I never
Going to
complained
bed.
about being put down for a nap. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And going to bed at 9
At
o'clock.
Oasis, I say, we have our times. I say, we just need to put mats on the floor and let us lay down.
Oh, yeah. In kindergarten and in preschool, my
No.
nap rug was my favorite thing.
Oh, yeah.
I
oh,
bet.
I
Go
remember
Don.
in elementary school, so in kindergarten, you took a nap, and then first grade, naps were a thing of the past. And I remember this boy I went to school with, John Francis, got in line when it would, after lunch, when it would have been nap time. And the teacher asked, John Francis, where are you going? He goes, well, it's time to go home and take a nap. And she goes, not anymore, you're in the first grade. And he goes, well, who the hell signed me up for this?
Oh, no kidding. Wow, first grader, way to go.
Like, yeah, John Francis, who did sign us up for this? And that was like a lesson in life. Who the hell signed me up for this? So anyway, so this artist I don't think we've ever spent any time with. She was based out of San Francisco. She did a lot of portraits, a lot of animal portraits. But she would, I don't know if this is true of this person, but probably not, because this is a very intimate scene, but she would often find her models on the street in San Francisco. And she was of this philosophy that a real artist uses real models. And so she would been working with people she'd never met before. And she had her favorites as well, but depicting real people from her community. So in that same vein, we're going to go to another sleeping person. But I know, isn't this just a beautiful portrait? But thinking of people in our community. So maybe some of you have heard the artist name Cedric Huckabee. He is a local Fort Worth artist. He teaches at UTA. He and his wife just opened the Kinfolk Studio. It's a historic home that they rehabbed to make into a gallery space in a neighborhood south of Fort Worth, in Fort Worth, focusing artists in their neighborhood or artists from the area. And Cedric Huckabee, between 2012 and 2013, when Occupy Wall Street, what that movement was going on, he felt very inspired to focus on the 99% in his community. And that community is, you might know the neighborhood Highland Hills in South Fort Worth, a little bit north of Everman. Anyway, it gave him the opportunity to move around his neighborhood, draw portraits of people he knew, connect with people he might have known of but didn't know well, and spend meaningful time with the people that made up his community. And so a lot of these, there's 101 portraits within this entire series. We acquired them, an edition of them in 2016. So when we first got it, we hung most of the portraits up. So it was really very powerful to see 101 portraits of people from Fort Worth by a Fort Worth artist. And so he depicted the young, the old, men, women, family, everyone. He wanted to make the ordinary extraordinary. And that was by getting to know the people in his neighborhood. And so here's a little boy. I don't think I have his name for this one. Some of them are identified, some of them aren't identified. But clearly he had a closeness with either this person or with the parents that he was able to capture them while that child was sleeping.
He's looked comfortable. He really looks comfortable.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He has his arm wrapped around a pillow, face in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that buried in, I mean, he is out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the innocence of childhood in there. Yes.
Yeah, and if you notice that this is a lithograph, he made lithographs of drawings he did. So he went back to his studio and then made prints of the drawings he used or had created. But he's using very simple lines. These have a sense of a quickness to them that they were created, but very directness to them. So like, we're able to, we're seeing the detailing of his hair, his shirt, the wrinkles in his shirt. We know he's resting on looks like a pretty fluffy pillow.
Yeah.
But he captured so much detail, And often in this quick drawing way that is associated, or at one point was associated with almost like journalistic drawing or things happening quickly and on the field. So he gives a bit of a documentary history to it, which elevates the portraits in a way.
Yeah, it does. That's beautiful.
So, Peggy,
Yeah.
so you said this is part of a series of 101 pictures.
Mhm.
Were these all pictures that Cedric Huckabee put together?
Yes, he did every single one of them. He met 101 different, or connected with 101 different people in his community, and was really trying to aggrandize the ordinary people and showing that ordinary people matter. So this was the 99% from his world. And we've had different artwork of his on exhibition here. He's exhibited all over the country. His focus is almost always African-American community or family. And he himself is African-American. We will, we're going to look at one more portrait from this collection or this series, and then I've got a short little video of him talking about why it's
one more question.
Mhm.
How is this a small portrait?
Yeah, so this one's only 5 by 7. All of the portraits vary in size throughout this entire series. It's not uniform, so that's part of the powerfulness when you're looking at it on the wall. I've not seen them hung without multiples within that series. So even though the two people or multiple people might not be connected to each other, it feels cohesive because of the drawing style or the lithographic style. The sizes are not uniform.
Okay.
So this next one we're going to look at, this is an 8 by 11. So it's a little bit bigger. It's a different orientation.
I resemble that picture.
We
love that
giggle. We giggle.
Yeah, what did you say?
I say I love that one. That
It-
is, you're just lying on the couch sleeping and point, you're gone. Or reading. And then you're gone.
You picked up on it exactly. Right. He's reading. I mean, this is just a moment any ordinary person can relate to. Passing out on your couch after, you're drowsy reading. Who knows if it's a Sunday morning or a day after work, but everyone can relate to it, whether they've seen a person they've lived with doing it or they themselves have done it. It's wonderful.
It's my afternoon.
Yeah. And so again, we've got this private, intimate happening in the house where, again, the person must have felt comfortable with Cedric to doze off while he was having his portrait made. I mean, this feels like a doze off situation where this little boy, that feels more of like a deliberate sleeping moment. This is a little bit of a doze off. And so what we're seeing in this particular portrait that we didn't see in the last one, we're seeing some words that appear. It kind of looks like it's artwork. But in a bunch of the portraits throughout this series, he's including words that the sitter had said to him while they were in this exchange or in this moment of depiction. And so here we've gotten the first, the higher square. You thought that was a cigarette she was smoking? Man, that was not a cigarette. And then
I thought that was funny.
It says, knowing her, that was probably something else, a blunt. Ha, 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 ha.
So is that a cake on the table or on the background?
I don't know what that is, but it looks like it maybe a decoration. I have no idea.
Okay, yeah.
But we're getting a glimpse into this person's home. I don't think but we're getting a glimpse into this person's, I don't know, thoughts, personality by the quote on the wall. He would deliberately lift these quotes and integrate them into the portrait to help the viewer, or to give the viewer almost a wholer picture of what that life of that person might look like, or what that personality is, which contributes to the everydayness of people,
But
So,
hey, you picked some really good pictures this time.
I'm so glad you enjoy these. Yeah, these are some pretty, I don't know. There's just something about these that I feel like are very touching, even though it's such a boring part of your day. It's great.
Oh, no.
So we're going to watch a quick little video of Cedric Huckabee, the artist, talking about why it's important for museums to collect and reflect the community that they're a part of, like these people.
Okay.
Like him as an artist and like the portraits of the people that we're seeing. So here we go.
He has a great presence on Google as well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
One of the things I think is very important for American museums is in their expansion, because they all seem to be expanding and growing with the time, that part of America includes their hometown. Many museums for many years were showing parts of America that seemed far away from the local people. And it was so important for me when I showed it here at the museum, showed my work the first time some years ago. I think it was a piece called Hidden in Plain Sight, that I like one of the other artists, I saw myself as a part of a long legacy of artists. I think at the time you all had Romare Bearden was one of the shows, and there might have been the purchase of a Robert Duncanson painting. And the showing of my work it allowed me to see myself as a part of a legacy, but it also allowed, I feel, the public to see that a part of that American legacy lived right here in Fort Worth. And this being one of the major museums in Fort Worth, that it embraced its own as a part of the American legacy is so important for us to see and understand.
That's cool.
So yeah, so anyway, keep an eye out for Cedric. He and his wife are movers and shakers in the art world, but specifically the art area, the art in the area. So, you know, you might see him on the news. He's a professor, I believe, at UTA. So, and his wife, Leticia, is just as involved in the arts. She's an artist herself as well, which we've had one of her artworks on view here too. So good things coming from Cedric. He's the nicest guy too.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so we're going to look at a couple more that have way less written about them, but just beautiful sleeping scenes. This one by Will Barnett. We've seen Will Barnett before. If you remember when we did letters, he drew a cat on the cover of an envelope that did not look like a cat. This is the same artist. And so what a moody scene.
Moon's out.
Moon's out.
Moon's out, window open.
Window
It's
open.
open. Yep.
We've got a rocking chair with a blanket. We've got a dark hall that leads down the way. I don't know. This doesn't feel as peaceful to me as the other ones, but it doesn't feel stressful either. It's just a very different feeling.
Well, yeah, I mean, the person sleeping looks like everything's points to her because she's bright in a dark area.
Yeah. And I think the arm over her head adds more of a dramatic element to it. I mean, granted, we probably also have that position at some point in her sleep at night, but it feels a little dramatic the way her arm is and how kind of her hair is, almost like she threw herself onto the bed or something like that. Yeah, you're right. Something you would see like in a black and white or a silent film.
Yeah. But even in a color film, it looks something, it's just muted tones. It's not real bright. Yeah.
Mine and I are trying to decide if her feet are off the bed or if they're just on the edge.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell under the draping. I mean, you definitely get the feeling that this person is under a blanket.
Yeah.
But maybe not under the covers.
Right.
As you can see. Which
Maybe
again
that's a
have
moonlight.
that. Oh, go ahead.
Maybe she's shielding her eyes from the moonlight.
Could be.
Yeah, that crescent moon.
But the moon is not full, so it doesn't
It's
give
not
off.
full. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But we don't know if there's a yard light out there either.
Yeah, that's true.
Light on.
You know, because she's
It's
fairly
common.
bright.
It's kind of like me on a Monday when I have to work on Mondays. I just go to the bed and I go,
Yes, Tony, that's right.
so tiring.
You
We got a
resemble
little bit of Tony's portrait happening in this picture.
That's right.
Oh, that's funny. But again, it has that relatableness of just whether the person has passed out just from a long day, or almost like you get the sense that they were like, I'm just going to lay down, or I'm upset, I'm just going to lay down. And then the night turns into the middle of the night. You know how you go to sleep and then you're like, oh my gosh, how is it dark outside? They're just, I don't know. It's very moody, very dramatic, kind of pushing it feels.
Could it be that she knew she was being drawn and didn't want to, so she covers her face?
You know what? Yeah, that could be even true, because he would paint, or he would draw and paint from things he knew, things he was witnessing. So he very much could have been, this could have been something he was doing live versus something that came to him in his mind. I don't know. I could really not find much about this particular artwork. But
It looks
again,
me,
go ahead.
it looks to me like there's a lot of straight lines, and she's all curvy lines.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
Have you
that's what makes her stand out.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, she really is the focal point. There's no doubt about that.
I'm interested to see that it looks a bit like a shotgun house.
it does. Yeah,
That might be.
It's interesting that there's a window into her room, but yet the doors go back and back and back.
Yeah.
probably the bedroom is just a little room off of the hallway.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a semi-shotgun.
Yeah, and this doesn't quite look like a New York City. We are often seeing Will Barnett in New York City depicting, his life in the city. This is not that. This has a very, for me at least, has a very, not even suburban, but like a rural feel to it. It just,
Oh, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
so, all right, we've got, I think maybe one more. Yeah, one more.
Lillian Gish. Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, Lillian Gish in her 30s. She and Nell Dorr, we've looked at Nell Dorr before. Nell Dorr photographed her family a lot, her children a lot, in very idyllic ways, that pictorialism of the blurred lines and kids holding hands and the mom holding the baby. I mean, she was created a very dreamlike feel to her photographs. And here she's with one of her closest friends. They were born the same year, so they were the same age, but here she's got a picture of her. I don't think she was actually asleep, because there are pictures from this same, looks like, series where Lillian Gish is very much awake. So
But is Lillian Gish an actress?
she is, yes.
Oh.
Was.
Was,
Yeah.
yeah.
She died in I have her down, 1993.
but she looks very peaceful.
She does. And again, this is another one of those, it's not the couch, it's not the bed, but how many of us have been laying out on a picnic blanket or
In the
just
grass.
in the
Yeah.
grass?
She's out in the meadow. She's out in the meadow someplace, and just,
Yeah.
and she's got her books and her stuff in her basket,
Yep.
that with her,
But yeah, there's just something, I don't know. To me, it feels like that time of year when you're like dying for sunlight, like just coming out of that winter
Yes.
darkness, and like the way she's just looking at the light, like, oh, my body needs this vitamin D. I mean,
That's right.
everything about this just feels relaxing.
It's probably late spring someplace, the grass
Yeah.
is starting to come green, and you're just laying out in this meadow, just kind of lounging,
Yeah.
It reminds me of what one would do in England. As soon as it hits 70 degrees, man, they're all out on the grass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
North Dakota, when you get 50 degrees, everybody's out on the grass.
I agree.
Yeah, that's wow. Summertime.
Yeah. The old adage is in North Dakota, if you show the scenes of people barbecuing, well, in Texas, we would never go out and, it might be 20, 30 degrees or less in North Dakota, and you're out there in shorts barbecuing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And just an interesting little tidbit about her, just how interconnected everything is. So Lillian Gish was part of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Ooh.
And she resigned when they wouldn't allow Marian Anderson to sing in Constitution Hall. And we just recently looked at that portrait of that Black woman who her hair's blowing and she was singing.
Yeah.
So she resigned, or she stepped out of DAR when they wouldn't allow her to sing. So she was often involved with racial tension, which was only mounting during this time. I mean, it's always mounting, it feels, but particularly this time in the US.
Good for her.
Yeah.
So, and there's in our archives, it's sweet because we have the archives of Neldor. There are notes from Lillian Gish to Neldor saying it's about time they show you at the Met, congratulations, and things like that. So they had a very long lasting friendship for most of their lives.
Well, that's good.
I love your backstories, Peggy.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I love learning about them. There's things I would never have known had we not meet once a week. So I'm glad I can share it with you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up Lillian Gish now.
Oh, do.
Yeah. Mhm.
Peggy, would it be possible to do a sleep part 2?
We do have enough.
You have nightmares?
No, please. No nightmares, please. No nightmares.
Okay.
We're gonna
Okay.
keep it light here, Don. We'll
All right. Well,
I have
okay.
enough nightmares as I am already.
Yeah,
you know.
right. We wake up to nightmares. All right, so we are back next week and we're doing sunglasses. So
Oh,
Ooh.
buckle up. All right,
interesting.
team. It was so good seeing all of you. Have a good week.
Yes,
and
it was,
I will,
Peggy.
Thank you.
see you
I'll
next
see you
week.
too. Take it easy.
Thanks,
Bye,
Peggy.
friends.
Bye.
Thank you, Peggy.
Bye-bye.
I apologize for what I did on that recording. I don't know what button I pushed, but I think we're back.
Are you gonna be able to put it back together in one piece then?
I'm sure that can happen. Yeah, we have
Okay.
someone whose whole
You were-
job is just posting things.
Okay.
You were barely gone. It was
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, it
5,
wasn't
6
that long. No.
But that's it.
Good, good. Well,
Okay.
You missed one of my comments, and that's all right.
Oh, yeah, Steve was talking at the beginning, then when you came back, Steve was still talking, so that's okay.
Yeah, so that's all right.
whatever works. Well, let's take a look at what's coming
Looks like
up, and
Constance
then we
sleeping
will stop the
there.
recording and we'll go to Fifth Street Cafe.
Okay.
So let's see what's coming into our realm. I love it. Okay, there's Peggy at 10:30 with Slee. At 11:30, we're doing Storywise with Heather. And at 1:30, we're doing Flashback with Martha. And if you haven't done Storywise or Flashback, they're both fun and interesting, and they will help to tickle your memories. Tomorrow, Jeopardy is 2 different times. It's at 10:30 and 1:30. And in the middle of tomorrow is the replay of that beautiful Peggy Spear that did Breakables last week. When
Oh, okay.
the glass waterfall,
Yeah,
it was just so popular. We wanted to bring it back. So it'll be in the
Great.
middle of the day on Thursday. Yay. Anybody have anything they want to say before we exit our video and go to Fifth Street?
No.
No? Okay, well.
Steve's gotta go.
Bye, Steve.
Steve.
Bye. We'll see you probably Friday because I'll be out
Friday.
in Park tomorrow.
Okay, Steve, have a great.
Bye-bye.